Hello and welcome, genties and ladlemen. It is in fact your boy, Sir Egward, and welcome to episode 40 of Cracking the Shell. How have I made it to 40 episodes? That's fucking mental. But in any case, if you don't know, which somehow I'm amazed you don't know, this is the podcast where we go behind the scenes of loads of monster noises and stupid stuff and all the cool bands that are part of the Glasgow and wider Scottish metal scene. And today I am joined by Jack and Billy from Disposable. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Yeah, good, good. All the better to be finally on breaking the shell, breaking the shell,
Cracking the Shell.
cracking the shell. I'm
Breaking
shy, eh?
All,
yeah,
all of it,
breaking.
all of it is just a giant joke that I'm bald. That's literally it. There's no deep lore.
Why?
It's just I'm bald. That's it.
Oh, is that? I was literally about to say why Sir Egwin is like that. Let's just clear
Egghead,
this up
bald.
right now.
Yep. Got to dispel the rumors. I'm not actually obsessed with eggs, though. I do like a nice fried egg, but it's literally just a giant me calling myself bald. That's it.
Check to be fair.
All
Yeah,
just me taking the piss out of myself.
well,
It's fantastic. But before we get into what you've been doing now and the new album and loads of fun stuff, I'd quite like to find out how did we get here? I want to hear about how you guys got into music, your first bands, kind of the origin story of you guys and Disposable and all that fun stuff.
Cool.
our first band was Disposable, I guess. Um,
Probably the first band worth mentioning for me. Were you in any bands before this, or did yeah?
the
Wow.
only the only band I was in before this was the band that became Disposable that wasn't really Disposable at the time.
Aye,
But like the members kept changing until at some point it became like this is the band now.
aye.
Whereas it was always just some dudes jamming until it
You,
Mm.
was immediately like
you guys were Disposable Heroes already when I joined, eh? Aye.
mhm.
So I'm probably the last member to join when it was Disposable. Uh, I had a band before called Velocity Forlorn, and then we changed it to Forgotten. We didn't really know what Forlorn meant. It just sounded cool, and we had a little symbol that was like a VF. And I was the singer, and all we ever did was a cover of Boulevard of Broken Dreams for a school CD. And we'd just meet up every week and practice that for like 2 hours. Uh,
It's
and
kind of amazing
it's
to
kind
be
of
honest.
amazing for like a year and a
We
half. And
probably
then
played it quite well after.
it was all right. And then I'd learned guitar, started listening to Metallica, tried to get everyone, tried to turn it into a metal band from a pop punk band, and eventually got to the point where I was turning up to these practice rooms and no one else was turning up, and I was like, nobody wants to be in a metal band then. Yeah, I met these guys in a music shop, and Billy schooled me on how I was playing a Slayer song wrong. Uh, we used to get a little bit steaming and go and hang out at the music shop in town on weekends. And I was playing Angel of Death quite badly, and some kid with dreads and a Slayer t-shirt came up and was like, "You're playing that wrong." And I was like, "What a dick." But then he
What
took
a
the
genuinely
guitar
dickish thing to
and then he
do.
showed me how to play it right. And I was like, he might be a dick, but he's quite good at guitar then.
What a,
Um,
what a prat, eh? Just walking up to you and being like, wrong.
it was kind of vivid, to be fair.
I
Wrong.
wouldn't even have to, I wouldn't have the balls to do that now.
Aye, but then met all the lads and they were all kind of cool. And I was trying to start a thrash band, and then maybe like 6 months later, I had an ad up on Gumtree looking for all the members of a thrash band. There was only one other ad on Gumtree that was a thrash band looking for a guitarist, and we both messaged each other, and that was that, eh?
That was after we thought you were called Kieran. Because
Kyle,
nah,
aye,
was it
it
Kyle?
was
I
Kyle.
always thought
So
it was Kieran.
these guys have been looking for me because they wanted to kick out their old guitarist, and they were like, "What about that wee guy from the music shop?" But they spent ages scouring Facebook looking for either Kyle or Kieran, something like that. And then eventually, when I emailed them, they were like, "You're that guy. We've
You're
been
Kyle.
looking for you."
You're Kyle.
Not
uh,
ominous whatsoever. We've been looking for you.
Not gonna lie, I was steaming and a bit of a wido, and so was our old guitarist Andy, a bit of a wido, and I may have like been a bit of a wee bam and like squared up to him in the music shop. So the email I actually got back is like, "You're that thrash metal brethren that squared up to me in Red Dog, aren't you?" And I was just like, "Oh, I'm so
Oh
sorry.
no.
Please let me be in your band still."
If anything, it was something memorable that happened. Do you know what I mean? That's, if we just not spoken to you that day, we would never have been like, oh, who was that guy
Aye.
who seemed to really be into. the same sort of
I
stuff.
mean,
'Cause
I think I still would have ended up in the band because if I'm not wrong, I was the only person that replied to your ad.
yeah. But like
Yeah.
if you didn't have that link, you didn't have that like callback to like, oh, that you're that guy,
Yeah,
then maybe not. Maybe it'd have just been like, nah,
yeah.
because we were right in a phase of being like, nah, it's like everything and everyone.
Well, to think if
So
you weren't playing Slayer wrong in that music store, none of this would have happened. If you had nailed
exactly,
it, they wouldn't have talked to you, and we wouldn't be here.
exactly.
We probably just walked past and be like, who's that try hard?
Getting insulted either way. Either you're pish or you're trying too hard. Never one.
Yeah, yeah, it's just it's never just right, is it?
Aye. Bye. That was well. You guys. How did you guys all do your?
So somehow Liam was the school I went to was in a campus with two other high schools. Uh, and Liam was at a different school to me. And Watson, our old guitar player, knew Liam from primary school or something like that. And they had started a band somehow, like an inter-schools band, which was weird because, like, generally speaking, you would never set foot in the other schools. That was just not a thing that happened to my knowledge. Somehow they were jamming together at like a lunchtime or something. And it was mental to me. I was like, Watson, you're going into the wrong school, mate. Like, how are you even allowed in there? And then they were, I don't know what it was. Like, there was some school concert coming up for St. David's, which was Liam's school. And they maybe couldn't find a guitar player. So Liam had said something like, oh, I know a guy, but he's from Dalkeith. So they let him across.
Aye.
And then it was like, oh, we need a bass player as well. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I walked through into Liam's school feeling like this is mental. And their music department was so much better than ours. I walked in and I was like, holy shit, you've like got stuff. We had nothing. We just had like some shitty drum kit and there was like old nylon string acoustic guitars.
Aye.
And I walked in and they had like a bass amp and a bass. And I was just like, here we go. And then we played Enter Sandman. So I think the first thing me and Liam ever jammed together was Enter Sandman. And we were playing that at this school concert. And I was like, well, that's cool. Like everything about this is cool.
Infinitely cooler than
yeah.
Broken Dreams. Like,
And then we played that gig, and like everyone else in the band that wasn't me, Watson, or Liam, we basically immediately just went, nah, you're not in this band anymore. Which is kind of savage because I think the band was only put together just to play this little school concert.
aye.
And that's why I got in and I was like, you're out. It's like some kid from the other school. Like, you're fucking out this band. Like the singer or something. Like after one 15-minute set at a school concert, I was like, you're out, son. And then we just turned into an actual band at that point and started like practicing out of school. And me and Liam just sort of became mates, which is mad because this was fucking ages ago.
How old were you? Like 14?
Oh, yeah, something like that. Like really young.
Aye.
I was going to say,
Liam was the first one.
because you've been in the game for a decade with three full lengths, probably one of the few Scottish bands that has, I suppose, a catalogue in a way, because a lot of them just kind of have a demo or an EP or something like that. Whereas you guys got, was it three full lengths? I say full length with It's Blood That
Aye.
Trickles Down being like 15 songs in 20 minutes, but
Yeah.
Aye, three full lengths. I think it's been it'll be 16 years this year
wow.
since the first gig that I played, which is kind of where we
This
sort
is
of think of it.
Disposable, yeah.
Aye.
That's what you think of it.
Well, yeah, that's what we count it in terms
Well, he's
of
about
like,
to go, actually.
well, how old is it? How long is it since that?
When did you play your first gig? 2010, November 2010, or November 2011?
I think it was, or maybe it was November 2010.
Did you not play a gig and then there was like ages without a gig?
Aye, I played that studios gig.
And then we like couldn't find a gig for a year because we were
Yeah.
like 15.
Yeah,
It
because I
was,
think I was 14 when I joined.
I reckon you
And you were
played a gig in
15.
2010.
Ah.
Liam would know this. Liam
Liam would know this.
Liam's got a good memory for all that stuff. But if we say 2010, then yeah, like we did a gig last year for our 15-year anniversary.
Aye.
So that must have been
Hey,
class
15
in
then,
it.
yeah. It's kind of
That was
mad,
the-
isn't it?
That was the gig at Craigiefield Hotel that
That was your,
I would say that's the first ever Disposable gig in Disposable lore.
aye,
The gig that was me, the two Andys and Liam at Craigiefield
aye.
Hotel in Pennycook. And I reckon some of the Dog Tired Boys were there, and I had no idea who they were.
That makes a lot of sense, to be honest.
Because there was some metal dudes there. I don't know how that gig happened.
Aye.
Liam was just like, maybe even Watson was like, I've got us a gig
Hotel.
at a hotel in Pennycook. And honestly, like, all my pals came to that gig from school. Like, we were just playing in my class.
Yeah.
It was fucking mental.
Kind of amazing.
And we were all just like 2009. So I was 16, maybe depending on, 16, just turned 16.
Aye.
And it was just my class from school that was there. Like, I remember people now who are just like not even remotely into music at all being there, pure screaming. It was fucking weird. And like my mum and dad, and then a bunch of their mums and dads, because we're all from Dalkeith. So like getting to Pennycook when you're like 15, 16 is hard because no one can drive. So like everyone's mum and dad was just there as well. And the band on before us were like a really like dad aged cover band playing like, the most like basic like Bon Jovi acoustic sort of style covers and shit like that. And then us, a bunch of 15. I mean, I was just turned 16, which means the other two Andrews were 15 and Liam was 14.
Aye.
At that gig. So just like pure kids just coming out and going and
Was it all covers?
Nah, we played an original. It was a weird set.
Aye.
But fucking don't know how we got that gig or why it happened.
But that's the fucking.
That's the one that I would class as like the first ever gig.
So that was all before my time.
We then played an amazing gig at the Mayfield Inn, which is basically like your average Scottish, like really shitty Scottish town miners club, with a wee pub attached to it, and we played in the wee pub. I don't know how we got that gig either, and it was literally just. Imagine like your average fucking dude who goes to the miners club for a pint. Someone's dad having a wee tenants before they get up the road. And we were there and we just played Angel of Death. And it was like, fucking, why do people keep allowing this to happen?
Who keeps letting us play? What is going on?
Everyone just sitting at tables, like chilling, having a conversation with a pint while we were setting up. And I was like, in 30 seconds, we'll be playing Angel of Death. And then we did. And then, I don't know, we had some big fight that night as well. Watson was really angry that night at something. I can't remember what.
Again, I feel like Liam's told me the story about this particular Watson being angry and having but I don't know it. It's a shame Liam's not here. He might turn up at some point, but he also really hates being on camera. He's quite a shy wee guy. But he would have all the juiciest stories. That's the thing. He remembers the lore.
Well, I remember feeling like we were one of the pure youngest bands out.
Aye.
Like we were playing gigs when like Liam was 14, and Liam looks little now. Like, can you imagine what Liam actually looked like when he was 14? He was
literally a fetus.
by the time we were playing like gigs that were 18 plus, like in any sort of like small club venue in Edinburgh, Liam had like fucking 4 years of gigging experience.
Yeah.
Liam was just like, he was just so good.
And he was still getting,
we played gigs.
Still getting ID to get a glass of water when he was like 20.
Remember that gig we played with Black Talent at Jekyll and Hyde?
Yeah.
And we were like too young to be there.
We weren't allowed to stay to see Black Talent. They were basically like, yeah. To be fair, at the time, I didn't really know much about it. You've probably seen us not shutting the fuck up about Black Talent. Here in the Disposable headquarters, I've actually got a fucking framed photo of their frontman that Billy got me for Christmas, Johnny Steele. And I've got his leather glove that he wears on stage because we're fanatics. But at the time, I don't think we really gave a fuck about anyone or anything. But yeah, I remember them being like, right, you have to come in, play your set, and then fuck off immediately. It was kind of cool. It was like I don't know if you've ever made it to Jekyll and Hyde. It's not a thing anymore. It was there years ago. But it had like a wee kind of like hidden bookcase kind of fucking gig room in the back. It wasn't by any means like a metal bar, but they sometimes did metal gigs.
I remember we got paid for that gig in beer tokens. And we were fucking too young to redeem them. So just like went up to the bar and they were like, you got your ID to use them. I was like, no, like we've been through this. Like, the owners already told us we have to leave afterwards. And then for some reason we'd agreed to be paid in beer tokens. We couldn't redeem them. The guy behind the bar was like, I'll be having them. We just fucking went home.
Unbelievable. But hey, that's the start, and now look at us playing all over the country, playing all across Scotland in April with Onslaught, mental, and then going to Switzerland later on as well. Mad. Fucking land of Swiss cheese. Look at that.
Switzerland's the best, man.
For some reason, like we've got a wee following in Switzerland. We just kept going back there, and now it's like I don't know, almost every other year or so, or every year really. Someone's like, "Go
Come and
do
play
this, come
Switzerland.
and play Switzerland again." It's like, all right,
Yeah, sure.
we'll go to
Yeah,
the
here,
next
here
place.
have all the cheese you want. All the cheese you want, just in giant wheels like those wheels you get at farmers markets. Huge wheels that you literally can't even carry, let alone take back. It's like,
Sounds amazing.
The only cheese memory we've got of
Oh,
Switzerland is a fucking bad
oh,
one.
I
cheese.
I love mature, like really fucking mature cheese, eh? And I was like, I'll get some cheese while I'm in Switzerland, but a lot of it's quite that like sweet, mild, nutty kind of vibe with all the holes
Yeah.
in it and that, eh? So I spent ages looking around and I eventually found this big wheel of really mature cheddar and I bought it. And then later on I bring it back to the van and the boys are like, here, Snowdonia, that's in Wales. And it turns out I went all the way to Switzerland and just bought a big wheel of Welsh cheese.
We also
Amazing.
then thought you were going to be able to get that back in the van.
We still had like we were coming back from Switzerland, we were still going back in the van, playing in Amsterdam and then Belgium. So it was like there was still like 5 days for
Yeah.
it to come all the way back with us. I think it ended up all getting absolutely scranned by me and Oliver in a hotel room in Amsterdam because
It just started baking in the back of the van.
it was rancid.
It was so hot, and it was like, here, that's stinking.
But then we
And it's
smoked
Welsh.
smoked a
Like,
joint
And
when we
it's
were in
Welsh.
Amsterdam. And I used to be a massive stoner. Honestly, I was like, I can't wait to go to Amsterdam. Going to Amsterdam is what stopped me smoking weed because I just couldn't handle it. I
Yeah, it's a
smoked
whole different
one
ball game
joint.
there, isn't it?
I rolled a big fat joint, and the guy that was with us, Pat, who does a lot of like, he drove us on that first tour, but he does a lot of our stuff over in Europe. He's a fucking absolute legend. He used to put on gigs over here, but he's moved back over. Um, and he's a big stoner too, but he was like, nah, like just roll a, trust me, Jack, just roll a wee one. You're not. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna.
I want the big one.
I smoked about half of it, gave the rest of the weed to the band that we were playing with, and I was just like, get this away from me. Me and Oliver went back to the hotel. I don't think we said a word to each other. We just sat making on the floor, making full eye contact, eating blocks of cheese that were like sweaty because they'd been in the back of a boiling van for days. It was a horrible experience. Kind of an amazing experience, but it was also like at the time it was like,
you remember that
what
hotel?
is my life?
That was hotel was minted.
Aye,
Do you remember that?
aye.
For some reason we were like, should we just go here? And it was like one of the greatest all-time hotels.
Aye.
And we spent pretty much all the money we'd made in the whole tour just there because I don't know. I think we just like were craving a comfortable place to be
Aye.
and also baked.
Yeah.
So I thought was just like, whatever. Liam tells me I was baked.
You were baked as fuck. It was amazing because I think at that point you were very much like, I'm straight edge as fuck. And then you were like taking the piss out of me for being baked. And then I can't remember what happened. Something really not funny happened outside and you just burst into tears laughing. Then after a while you were like, I feel really funny. And Liam was like, you're baked. And you were like, is this what being baked is like? And it was like, mate, you're cooked, man.
I always remember because we had separate rooms that night, eh?
Yeah, you were with
So
Liam.
like me, it was just me and Liam. And I remember just like we were just laughing for like an hour, like lying on our backs. And Liam was like, "You're so baked, eh?" And then we just started looking up like a history of the worst Scottish crimes, and then fell asleep. And he was like, "Oh, he's like, oh, do you remember the last thing you said about like this murder that happened? It was like something awful." Just like chuckled, and we both fell asleep.
Yeah, Switzerland's great.
Switzerland is great, and that's a fantastic image of just one half of you in one hotel room, just staring at the ceiling, fucking laughing about murders, and then just fucking Jack and Oliver, full eye contact, scranning cheese on the floor. That's beautiful.
Don't
That
do drugs, kids.
don't do drugs, kids.
That was one of the all-time. That was one of the all-time days. That was
That's one that'll
magnificent.
go down in
Aye.
disposable history for that one. But speaking of disposable history, we've got the new album, It's Blood That Trickles Down, out now and everywhere you get music, iTunes, Spotify, grandfather clock, that random old man in the street that probably is on a register, he'll probably have it. I'd quite like to hear, obviously it's a different album compared to what you've done, It's definitely a lot more kind of hardcore leaning, a lot more punk leaning. Songs are short, fast. Ah! Was that kind of the idea going into it, or was it just kind of developed over the course of writing? It's like, nah, let's do a hardcore album.
It kind of was the idea going into it. So I think essentially we'd done the first album was kind of just that came out in 2014. So we'd had about 5 years of doing wee demos and like writing songs, and that was more of just a compilation of everything we'd done up till that point. Um, we did the EP, Life Misguided, and then Andy left. And when Oliver came in, we started like purposely writing a second album. But the Suffocator album writing process was kind of hell. Like I think we didn't really realize it until someone reviewed it after the fact, but there's a lot of mental health themes on that album, and I think we were all going through a period in our lives where our mental health was trash. And then the more we were sort of making that album, it felt like the process dragged out. It became really stressful. We were really happy with the end product, but um,
It was a
I
trek
think
to
even
get there.
it was a trek to get there. And I think even before that, we'd kind of said that we'd like the idea of, so the original idea of the punk album is what we called it for so long before it became a thing. And the idea was that we'd get together, we'd write a bunch of songs in like a week. We'd maybe make a post on a Monday saying we're gonna release a new album by Saturday, and we're gonna write all the songs, record all the songs, and literally just chuck it up all online at the end of that week. That was the initial concept, and then it took us 7 years. But I think
Yeah, let's do it in 7 days. It took 7 years.
well, when did Andy leave the band? Andy left in 2017, 16,
Uh, yeah, 2016 going into 17.
and then 2017 we played our first shows with Oliver, which I think were in Ireland. And I think it was then that you wrote the first iteration of 40 Guns, eh? Or was it after that?
40 Guns is funny because I worked this out the other day. It like perfectly bookends all of his time in the band.
Yeah,
I think I wrote that. Do you remember I was like up on the bed, like playing guitar,
yeah.
like
In a
in
hotel room
in a
somewhere.
hotel
Yeah,
room, right? And I think the only reason I would have ever done that is after Oliver's first gig went well.
yeah,
Like I just wouldn't be excited enough to get up in the bed and play guitar.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I was acting up for some reason with like that adrenaline of like, oh yeah, we did it.
yeah.
I reckon that was Oliver's first ever show. The reason is because I remember the bed I was on. Like I've got a mental image of Oliver just going over the songs over and over and over again before,
Yeah,
and that was the same room.
yeah,
There's a room I surfed on your back.
yeah.
You
I was
sleep. Do you
gonna say
remember?
I remember you standing on my back. Yeah.
Aye, just me bouncing about, being an arse, basically.
Uh,
I that was the day I wrote 40 Guns. So that was the day of Oliver's first ever gig,
aye.
and then
We released it
they
on the
released
day.
it the day he left the band.
Yeah, it's mental. But yeah, so like that whole, I think the idea was to pump it all out. But then as we were doing it as well, we were like, we'll record it really scrappily. I mean, I wouldn't say it's scrappy. Liam didn't use a click track when he was recording the drums. It's all got quite a raw sort of feel to it. We were playing in the room with him for the first time ever while he was recording the drums. But I think as it sort of developed, we were like, we actually like these songs. We still want it to have that punky feel, but we like them too much to not give them the respect of like an album that we're gonna put some effort into.
Yeah.
But we had this
Um,
concept that like we would write 3 or 4 songs each, and like the person who wrote it would kind of have full or at least nearly full creative control over that song.
kind of like a split between the individual members of the band.
Hmm.
And so that was like the concept. So I went away and wrote all my stuff.
And no
No
one
one
else
else
did.
wrote any of their stuff.
In fact, Liam was the only one that he wrote two.
But even that was like a few years later.
Yeah.
Like I wrote my stuff, like all my stuff on that album was written in like 5 years ago from today,
So
probably.
I wrote three, and I think
In fact,
the time
before
that
that,
we just started recording the album, I'd only written one of them.
you had about 6 years to write your 4 tracks, and you did 3 of them like while we were here in the studio recording the album,
Yeah.
which is kind of amazing.
That is amazing. And all of them are bangers, which makes it even more amazing.
I mean,
The point being there is like it was just going to be like no one was to overthink anything too much. And I think this, like Jack said, the Suffocator writing and recording process, I think we all just nitpicked at each other's shit
Yeah,
so much that the idea came from that, like sort of let's never do that again kind of
yeah,
thing, or like, even like a let's do the complete opposite of that at some point,
yeah.
like do this album where we really don't overthink anything at all. But because I'd written my songs for the album so quickly after coming up with that concept, by the time we got around to actually doing it, like we just put it on the back burner because it was a bit of a joke. It was like, oh, it's just a fun concept, but we might not actually ever do it. Then when we decided to actually do it, I was like, I've had these songs for like 5 or 6 years. So like they're really solidified in my head. Like I
Yeah.
don't have any of that like instinctive thing about them like I did at the time.
I think as well, it was something we talked about doing for so long, but when Oliver told us he was leaving the band,
Mm.
and he'd already told, like, so Oliver's songs were Violent Repercussions. Again, I think that was really maybe that same sort of time when he just joined the band. Born in a Hearse, Politics, and Bin Kicker. Just those four?
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. But so I think it was basically that kind of like when he said he was leaving, we were like, right, then what we're gonna do, he was like, I'll stay till the end of the gigging year. And we were like, well, we should do this album before you go then. It kind of gave us a kick up the arse to be let's do one last thing. And if we're gonna do one last thing with you, it's got to be this.
It's
Yeah.
definitely a good exit, I would say. It's a definitely strong exit because you get a lot of cases where band members leave and just kind of whimpers out, peters out. But no, you guys come in with an album that kicks you in the face for like 15 songs and it just doesn't let up. And that's something that I think you should be proud of. It is a banger album.
What I think's cool about it is like because it was Oliver's last thing that he did, and the whole kind of concept was we're not gonna overthink anything and almost be like
He just
not
did it.
underdeveloped,
Yeah.
but like there was an element of laziness being like part of the creative process. Oliver's like was going that way, like his mentality with the band in that last year. Like from the moment he told us he was leaving, it was like this whole weight had come off his shoulders. And despite him saying, "I'll stay until the end of the gig in year," like you could see him winding down from that day.
Pretty much after Bloodstock, it was like,
Yeah, so like exponentially like caring less and less and less.
yeah,
But the album was the one thing that like we were kind of forcing him to be focused in on.
yeah. I think as well when we got around to doing the release show and playing some of those songs, it was amazing having to teach Oliver those songs because I think he recorded everything he mixed everything. It was Keith Duncan at Keith Duncan Sound. Who this is obviously our wee fucking Disposable headquarters. It's situated in Summer Hall within like a kind of practice room area, and there's a lot of artists in here. So Keith is our next door neighbor across the hall. But other than the mastering that he did, everything else was us. And Oliver was in charge of the recording, and I think he really enjoyed the recording process of this album. But when it came to him actually doing his guitar tracks, he was kind of like, right, what do I play? What do I do here? You'd show him, he'd record it and be like, yeah, cool, whatever. So by the time we did the album launch, he was kind of like, here, I didn't take any of that in. I'm gonna have to like essentially relearn the song that I played once and you hit record on, and then I immediately put it out of my mind forever.
I mean, I would say a
Yeah.
good 75% of the album takes are the moment after that person learned what they were.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Liam doing the drums, we'd go in, we'd jam the song once, maybe twice. Sometimes even like we'd go through to the drum room and write it.
Yeah.
You know, right there. And the moment after it was written, it was like, okay, hit record.
Yeah.
So like a lot of Liam's takes are like first takes. And I don't mean like first takes as in like first recording take.
Yeah, like
I mean, like
first
literally the first time he ever played it in full was like through there. Like,
shout out Liam Tucker, fucking amazing guy.
and all these guitars were the same. Me and you were a bit more prepared, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's just how we were rolling.
Yeah.
But a lot of Oliver's, almost every single.
I mean, you say that, but like you gave me tabs, I think the day before the first guitar recording. We came in here and went over. So it was only like by a day.
Yeah. That's what I mean by organized. We did something beforehand. But I mean, Oliver was learning on the fly.
Yeah.
So he was like recording a section and then stopping recording and then turning around and going like, right, how do you play the next riff?
Aye.
Teach it to him, and you start recording again and play it. So
Thing
like
is as well, I
literally
think
the moment you knew it, it was on the album.
Born in a Hearse obviously was one of the ones that he wrote, and even then, that fucking I can't play the song at the start. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is like legit. I think he even just hadn't thought about that in so long. He'd showed us the riffs. We'd made a song structure out of it and put words to it. And then when he got around to it, he was like, "What the fuck is this again? Like, why are you making me do this?" Um, yeah, it was pretty off the fly. Is that a phrase? Off the cuff, on the fly,
On
something
the
like that.
fly, off the cuff.
Aye,
That's it.
those.
Those
Why?
words. We England good here. We do good England. But speaking of, obviously, despite it being very primitive and almost sounding kind of pushed together, it isn't. It's really well I can't speak today. Fucking hell. You'd
We
think I'd
England
be
good.
better. You'd think I'd be better prepared, but it is a well-crafted album, and everything that kind of went into it, the kind of spontaneity, laziness, kind of, because again, it did take 7 years, 6-ish years, but it sounds well thought out instead of just, oh fuck, we've not done an album in forever. Let's do an album, and that's it. And then you've made a big splash with the release show, which had an absolutely insane lineup. Got Hammer, the Doppelganger Boys, Bastards of Hades. Gee, wonder who that was. But
The number of people that on the night were like, as they were setting up, like, can I believe there's a fucking Hell Ripper tribute already? And then kind of like looking at them and being like, dude, they
wait,
look
that's
like Hell
fucking
Ripper. And I'm
James.
like, bro, it's fucking Hell Ripper. How are you not getting this yet? Like,
It's amazing. It's amazing. And speaking of James, I had him on a few months ago, and that was a lot of fun because currently he is the highest scorer of the Sir Edward's Cracking the Shell trivia section with 4.5 points
fuck.
out of 10.
Four and a
I
half.
feel like we're gonna struggle
Out
with
of how
this.
many questions?
10.
That doesn't feel great. But I'm not going to say anything until because we'll get fucking one or something.
Well, shall we put it to the test then? Bidda 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 bidda, big intro. I might do an intro, I don't know.
Oh, we're
I
going
just
into
kind
it
of like
right
to
now.
fly into these. But I've
All
got 10
right.
questions for you lot. Obviously, kind of centered around the music that you play, because I'm not going to ask you about jazz, am I? Well, maybe.
I'm going to
Who
go
knows?
instant.
But first question, gentlemen. Name the German Big Four thrash bands.
Creator, surely.
Sodom,
Sodom.
destruction, and I don't want to say Tankard, but is it Tankard?
I feel like it might be Tanger.
What other German thrash band is as big as that? It's definitely Creator, Sodom, Destruction, and then there's one other. I want to say Tankard.
Let's say Tankard.
You're correct, it is.
Yes.
1 point on the board already. It took the
But
it took
that
the
was
Canny Sea
insanely hard
guys like
to
five
question.
questions to get 1 point. So big love to them, but like currently they're second place because they clutched it up at the end and they have 4 points.
Oh,
They have four
this
points. And there's like two bands joined for like third and fourth place. But let's see how far you guys get. Question number 2. Where did Overkill get their band name from?
Not a band I know much about, really.
I only really know one album that much. I mean, I
Just
want to say
Motorhead.
it's the Motorhead song. That feels maybe too obvious.
I've got no other answer.
Right, the Motorhead song.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It was after Motorhead's second album.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll give you that. So that's 2 points. Look at that. Absolutely flying, boys.
I would go in mental.
Next question. Alex Skolnick left Testament in 1992. What year did he come back?
Nash would know this.
Nash would know this.
My fucking knowledge of Testament's lineup history is pish.
Yeah,
I've literally just
I have
been
no
fucking
idea.
fucking
I'm just gonna make up a guess if you don't have one.
Let's think of it logically. What
I-
year did you say he left? 1980,
92.
92 he left.
He's obviously patched off the 90s because he's thought thrash is.
I reckon somewhere in the second half of the 2000s, maybe 2000s. I want to say 2004, and I don't know why.
I've got no answer. So but say 2004 and we'll just go insane if it's right.
2004.
You were close. It was 2005.
God damn. I mean, we had no basis for why we answered that. It was just a fucking random
It's actually
number.
an incredible guess.
You were very close. You were very close. I'll give you that. You
I'll
were
take that.
very
I
close.
feel good about that.
Well, yeah, good, good. These are just meant to be a wee bit of fun, kind of throw a curveball, get you on your toes, going, oh, no. It's that kind of
Well,
thing.
see,
It's a
this is
good
the
wee
weird one.
laugh.
I feel like I'm pretty basic bitch when it comes. I love thrash metal, but I like the big four, and I'm not ashamed of that. And see, like bands
Nothing
like
wrong with the big
Testament,
four.
oh, they're great. But a lot of these bands, I'm like, I know one album and nothing else about them.
I like
Well,
quite a lot
speaking
of
of the
Dispo,
big
but
four,
not
next
fucking man.
question. Kiko Loureiro played on which two Megadeth albums?
You should know this.
Dystopia and whatever the fucking one before that was. Which one? Fuck.
You should know this.
I do know this, and I will get it. But or was it the one after Dystopia?
Was Dystopia the kind of newish one that had the weird song about a fucking like space?
Maybe was it the most recent fucking? Was it the Sick, the Dying, and the Dead?
I feel like he
And
was on
Dystopia,
that. Aye,
and then he fucked off after the album came out
aye, I
because he
think
only left
so.
recently.
Let's do that because
I
I'm
would say
pretty sure that's it.
I would say Dystopia and the Sick, the Dying, and the Dead.
Absolutely correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he left and then got replaced by some Finnish guy whose name I don't remember. But I'm sure he'll leave because it's Dave Mustaine.
Because it's so hard to keep up with the lineup of Megadeth, man, eh?
That's very true, and it's mainly because of Dave Mustaine. There seems to be a common denominator there. But yeah, we
Yeah.
have got 3 points so far, and we have got 5 questions to go. Could you beat James McBain? Who knows? He's confident. Could you beat James McBain with 4.5 points?
Mildly.
We're getting DMPs
Mildly.
that were fucking victorious.
I'm
Hey James, how's it going, man?
just like, you know, we're more thrash than you.
Just fucking annihilate.
Well, if you get more questions right, you do technically get to do that because this is being recorded and it will be in the public eye. So you can technically do that. Question number 5. Who produced Death Magnetic?
And we should know that as well.
We should
What's the
really
guy?
know that.
What's the fucking dude's name? Oh, it's the guy that's done all of the recent ones. He's done Death Magnetic and he's done everything since. And it's gonna really upset me not to get this. How many times have you watched the fucking Naked Magnetic documentary? You know the guy.
I know.
What's his
I just can't
name?
mind his fucking name. Uh,
Go through every name, and then when it sounds right, I'll say.
Go through every
Every single name on the planet.
What is his name?
I don't know what he's called. Thing is, I know the fucking Death Magnetic production is something that like people are like, I love that album. I love that documentary. I should know this.
What is that dude's name? He's a very normal looking bloke. Do you know what I mean? He's just like short brown hair dude. Seems like quite a nice guy. It's gonna fucking piss. It's already pissing me off.
Yeah,
Just trying to think of what his name is.
that's the annoying thing is I know who you're talking about.
He's
I
got a
can
basic
envisage
name
it.
like fucking David Sign. It's I don't think it's David, but you know what I mean. It's like it's Greg. What's his fucking surname, man? Is it Greg? It's
I don't know.
Greg's ringing a bell, man. But I don't fucking know his surname. Greg something, man.
Greg something man.
Oh, I know that guy, Greg something, man.
Amazing if it's not Greg or something, man.
Is that your final answer? Like
feel like
Greg something man.
Greg, oh man. Is his name Greg?
Are we giving up?
Fuck. Greg.
I'm no help here, man.
What's a name that ends with man? Fieldman.
Fieldman.
It's not that. Greg.
I can't even think of a name that ends with min now. We're so on the spot.
It's something like Greg fucking Fieldman or something like that.
You say field because it feels like it's
Yeah.
Greg Foreman.
It's something like that.
Fuck.
I think.
Do we
What
do we
if his
go,
name's
do we
like
go with an
Mike
actual name or do we just go with like Greg something and hope
We may
that
as well. It's not going to be something, man. So we
just
may as well go with It's like Fiedelman or something like that.
Go with that.
Greg Fiedelman.
You're wrong. It was Rick Rubin.
That makes so much more sense.
Who am I thinking of then?
Who the
You're
fuck are
thinking
you
Greg.
thinking?
It's. I think Greg Feldman. He did everything after Death Magnetic. Like he
Oh,
did Hardwired, and he's done
I think
72
you know what?
seasons.
I didn't know that Rick Rubin did
You know what?
Death
Yeah, he
Magnetic. That's
did.
mad.
Remember I said to you recently, like the only other album that sounds like Death Magnetic is World Painted Blood by Slayer.
Aye,
And they fucking sound the same, you know, like that really loud snare. And I
yeah.
knew that was Rick Rubin. Who's the guy that did all the? Is it Greg Fidelman who did all the other ones?
Greg Feldman, did you say?
Well, it's something like that. Feldman Feldman. I think it's Greg
Aye.
Feldman that's done like
Oh,
I
Hardwired and
worked
all
so
that.
hard to get his name, and then it
you were
wasn't even
really
him.
close, but
But it was
right
Rick
guy.
Rubin for Death Magnetic.
Man, it was.
But
That's interesting, actually.
now you know. See, knowing's half the battle. Insert that obvious meme here.
You know what it
Next
is?
question. Question number 6. How many albums, just studio albums, did Rob Jukes perform on with Exodus?
There goes the can.
It's quite a few. It's that big period of Exodus I know fucking nothing about.
I'm
But
gonna
there's
go
a there's
on
a
record that I hate Exodus. Can't stand Exodus. I don't really know why. So I'm useless here. I only really know fucking Bonded by Blood.
uh he did the re-recording of Bonded by Blood, and then he did whatever fucking one that's got Was My Shepherd on it. Then there's like two fucking others. He did fucking it's got to be five or six, man. It's quite a lot. I want to say six.
You want to say six? I've got nothing to offer. So is that
I just punch in six. I don't know
six?
anything about this era.
Six?
Like,
It's just 4.
Confidence six.
Just 4. But
should have done
you were
six.
close though, and then obviously there's probably gonna be 5 because he is back in Exodus and they're working on new material because they booted Sousa out. Why? I have no idea. Here's hoping it's not some kind of weird, creepy allegation or some shit because I think Cetro's all right, but I have no idea. They just kind of said, yeah, Steve's out and Dukes is back in. It's like, okay, fuck
Yeah,
knows
I
why.
saw that. It was just like we're just swapping them out again,
Yeah,
and everyone was like, right.
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
I don't know
cool.
anything about Exodus, man.
That's all right
Right.
because we've still got 3 points and we've got another 4 questions to go. Question number 7.
Oh,
What Death Angel song was nominated for a Grammy for Best Metal Performance?
fuck knows.
But I don't know. I don't even know if I could name a Death Angel song.
I'm trying to think when that would have been. Potentially ages ago. Not a band I listen to.
Nah, me neither.
It's this question now. Just name a Death Angel song.
I think
Between you and
I think if you and I can name a Death Angel song,
I'll
I'll
be
be
happy
happy
with
with that. But
Fucking never ever listened to Death Angel once in my life. I don't think.
I just got massively into Dark Angel, and I think I listened to Death Angel
Spotify
because
was like, "Did you mean Death
I
Angel?"
thought it was Dark Angel, and then for years I was like, don't like that band very much, and then I heard Dark Angel, and I was like, oh, they're two bands, right? I
Death
like
Angel
this one
is the Death Angel singer, the guy that's doing the vocals and
for the Kerry King
Kerry
thing.
King. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got a belter voice.
he does actually have a really good voice. I don't even know if I could name an album, let alone a song. Uh, I'm inclined to be like pass on this one because
We
I
can't pass. Make up a
make
generic
up a
thrash
Thrash
name.
song. All right, okay.
Put in an answer. Death.
Um,
Death is near.
Yeah, that's a thrash metal song. Probably.
Like, it absolutely must be.
It must
Mental
be,
if it's not.
It must be that.
Let's go with that. Is it?
It's not. The answer is Humanicide.
What? Are you sure it's not Death is Near by Death Angel?
It's
You
by
know that
some
one?
angel, but it was for Humanicide off the album of the same name.
That is a cool album
We
and
should.
song name, to be honest.
It's a solid album. I recommend it. I recommend
When was that?
Dark Angel, fucking Death Angel. See, look, you see, it's his fault. He did it. I'm getting them confused.
When was that? What? How long ago was that?
So that album came out in 2019. I think it would
Oh,
have
it's quite
been,
recent.
yeah, it was just before COVID. I don't remember if it was the same year, but it got nominated for Best Metal Performance. Lost, but still got nominated.
I can imagine them being the type of band that is would release something that would get a nomination for the Grammy. Like I
I'd
consider them
say
one of
they
those
deserve
bands
it
that I
because Death
think
Angel are sick.
like they've got that like tight modern sound.
So that's
They do.
another thing. Like I've got to go away and listen to some Death Angel
There
to
you go.
discover if I've got a better music taste than like 15-year-old me. Probably.
Well, there you go. We're still sitting at a solid 3 points. We've still got another three questions to go. Who
Well, one and a
knows?
half points to get across three questions.
1.5 points to get across three questions to tie with James
If you
McBain.
like fucking nose dive
That's the
a
problem with
lot
like
since the
starting okay is that then you're like, oh,
I don't think it's going to get any easier, but we'll see. Question number 8.
We'll give one of them.
Which Rick James song did Mordred cover on their debut album Fool's Game?
we're false thrashers. I don't who's
Right,
Rick
let's
James?
make up a song title again.
Do you know Rick James?
Nah.
Um,
Fucking wondering now.
Me
I don't know
neither.
if you said a whole bunch of words there that I don't know nearly enough.
Um,
I almost feel
so
bad.
first
I
we've got
want
the,
to give you a clue, but I'm like,
Rick James is going to be someone really obvious, eh?
it'll be like a song that we definitely know. We just don't know it's by Rick James. Who's Rick James?
To be fair, I didn't know who he was until I heard this cover. It's a
And
good
then when
cover.
you're like, oh, I know
That
that
makes me
song.
feel better.
Yeah.
Can we work this out then? So this it must be like when Zentrix did Ghostbusters. Do you know what I mean?
Like,
Some sort of like song that cunts would know, and then a thrash band came along and went, "Let's cover that. That'll be banter."
not a thrashy song, but made thrashy. I'm just trying to like. I know the name Rick James. What kind of
Does he
music
not sound
is
like
he?
a country dude or something?
That's what my brain's going to. Um,
What country songs are there by artists you don't know who the artist is? That could be Rick James.
it's very niche.
That's such a niche question. Um, maybe it's like fucking. I don't know. I don't know who sings anything.
uh,
I'll give you a little hint, right? I'll give you a little hint. They covered like a cheesy pop song.
Right.
all right.
So it's not country.
Okay.
So
Not
that's
going
how
ha ye up
but
here.
it's not actually unlocking any.
Rick James. What I do like that's. I'll. The thing is, the annoying thing is, I probably will know the song, just not know who it was by, or vice versa.
Yeah, I'm just not going to be able to access a cheesy pop song that I don't know the artist of in my brain right now. I can only think of ones that I know the artist of.
Make up a cheesy pop song name then.
We've just made up the answers for the entire second half of the quiz. Rick J. Wait,
Something about love and
no, but I wait. I'll manifest it, right? I'll introduce Top of the Pops, and then you just fire in with the song. At number 4, we got Rick James with another single, "Lovin'."
you. Loving you by Rick James.
Incorrect. The answer was Super Freak.
A super freak, super freak.
That
I
one.
don't even. But also,
They
I feel like
covered that, and it's brilliant. It's a
see from
fantastic cover.
the wee thing that Billy did there. I feel like that would be amazing as a thrash cover.
It is. It is. And
Ah,
honestly, that album's really good as well. Mordred were they were kind of doing like the funk thrash thing, but it never really went anywhere. It was one of those bands that like this album's really good, but then literally every other thrash band just kind of showed up and they got buried, and it's a real shame because they were doing something cool.
Fuck.
But now you know, see, you've got homework. You need to check out Death
we
Angel
care.
and that cover of and Mordred's cover of Super Freak.
Aye.
See,
Damn. I only know the song Super Freak from The Simpsons. It's in an episode of The Simpsons.
everything's in an episode of The Simpsons because they
I mean,
predict
literally,
everything.
like,
They
if you
have.
just start answering with Simpsons trivia and hope for the best.
I mean, who knows? We've got two questions
Whatever
to
the next
go. You have two
question
more
is,
chances to beat James.
I reckon the answer to the next question is Marge Simpson.
Question number 9. How many takes did it take for Cliff Burton to record Anesthesia?
One.
Is it just one? Is
It
it
is
though?
just one.
Okay. Oh
It
yeah,
is
bass
just
solo.
one.
Big solo, take one.
We have 4 points. We have four
I thought
points,
you were making
lads.
like
You're in the top three. You are tied with the Canny Sea lads.
We really have to get this last one.
If you
Or
get
those
else
this
Caddy
last
will
one, you
never
will be at
win.
the top. You'll
those
be at the
specky.
top.
You need to beat those specky bastards.
Coming from said specky bastard.
Yeah, that's the only reason I can say it.
Exactly, it's true. Last
What's
question.
the perfect kind of niche thrash question that specifically me and you are all about? Manifest.
You're manifesting it. Okay.
I'm
What
manifesting
do
that.
the initials COTLOD spell out?
TOT.
Do you understand that reference?
I don't really.
Let's
My
maybe
brain
make
wants to think. My brain wants to think that the first bit's Circle of Tyrants. Something. Don't know.
Is that because we know of the band Circle of
Aye,
Tyrants?
but they got their name from a
From
song
something.
called Circle of Tyrants by a band.
Lords of Death.
I was gonna say Land of Death or something, but maybe Lords of Death. I don't know. That's not an answer because I'm not sure.
Does it make
about
sense with
that.
Circle of Tyrants? Land of Death.
I mean, I don't know what else it could be. Why not? Why not? Circle of Tyrants and then whatever you said.
Lords of Death.
Lords of Death.
So it was actually the anagrams of the Testament song Curse of the Legions of Death.
Ah.
We did get one word right.
You did get one word right,
Yeah.
but you are still sat at 4 points, gentlemen. Well played, though. That was good.
No, I'm
4 points. You are in
not
the
that.
top. You are at the top, which means whoever I get on next really needs to get like five, at least five, because if I bring up the scores the now, just need to find the document for it. In terms of the current rankings are Hell Ripper with 4.5 points, you guys and Canny C tied at 4 points, Doppelganger and a metalcore band called Gungal tied at 3 points, Luxera got 2.5 points, Ophanim got 2.5 points, Fatal Collision got 2 points, Hammer got 2 points, and Murder Worship got 1.5 points.
That's fucking makes me feel better.
It makes me feel less terrible.
It also makes me feel worse
You,
than the
you beat Fatal Collision, so it's fine.
The Rick Rubin question is the one that hurts.
That one hurts because I worked so hard for the wrong answer.
You did work hard for that answer, and I do appreciate that, but ultimately it was incorrect.
Like I'm actually managed to manifest the guy's name, and it wasn't even him.
It was the wrong guy.
I got the right
But
name
you just
wrong.
made up a name that
Right,
was right.
wrong guy,
different
wrong guy,
name.
yeah. You still
Okay,
did
yeah,
good.
man.
That's 4 points. Still well played, gentlemen. And it's a lot of fun. It's nice to kind of throw a wee curveball in there instead of just talk about what your influences are in the new album.
That's the most fun I've had for about all year.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I
We're
mean,
only in February, but I'll take that as a compliment. But in any case, for the whole year, like we were talking about before the cheese lore and the quiz, get some shows with Onslaught in April. And then you've got, I think it's in March, back to Banshees for a headline of a doppelganger as well.
Yeah. Got to be Hellraiser at Banshees. What else have we got? We got some quite cool gigs coming up.
Yeah, we're playing up in Aberdeen with Thrash's Regime in April, and we're playing on a boat, man.
We're playing on a boat.
They are
Playing a
playing in
gig
a
on a boat.
boat.
Playing a gig on a boat. Uh, the Maid of the Fourth, or at the end
That
of
was on The Simpsons.
well, that was on The
That
Simpsons, yeah.
It was
boat
in The
that's
Simpsons, yeah.
all about the boats. Yeah.
And so yeah, some weird, fun, interesting gigs coming up. To be honest,
That's that riffs and ramps as well.
yeah,
Really,
Yep,
really
riffs
looking
and
forward
ramps
to
as
that.
well. I would like to, and I spoke about this with Chloe, I would like to get a bunch of members from all the bands that are playing in it for like a big round table just before it, like in the months before it. I think that'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
yeah,
Just
that would
chat
be good.
loads of mad shit, get like a mega quiz or some shit, who knows?
I'm gonna have to do my homework on thrash metal because I am a poser.
Well, he
No, you're
said it,
not, man.
not me.
Like
I didn't say anything. He said it.
you're 4 out of 10 not poser.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I mean, if it's
I
any
think
consolation, I don't know if you guys had seen, but Banger TV a couple year ago, they did that Metalheads trivia show, and I was on it.
Oh,
were
did you
you?
actually?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did an episode, and I got 8 out of 12.
Wow,
That's good
that's
numbers.
sick.
But the thing that fucked me, right, and I still cringe at this, was it was like a country's question, and they were talking about the Nokia scene in a band called Convulse. Nokia was the clue because I said Denmark, the answer was Finland. Nokia,
Uh,
because it's Finland.
Mm,
So see,
See, I would
I'm just as
not
liable
got
to fuck up as anybody else.
yeah, that's your Rick Rubin moment right there.
That
that.
is that is exactly my Rick Rubin moment. Because I'm
I'll never
thinking,
listen to
nah,
Rick Rubin again.
Nokia's no Finland, right? No, it's got to be. And everybody talks about Finnish metal. So when you think of a
Yeah.
country that nobody really talks about, and that's Denmark. So I'm like, Denmark, and it's like, no, it's actually Finland. And I'm going, well, I'm never listening to Convulse in my life.
Blacklisted, man.
Literally blacklisted. They're not. It's a solid band. Finnish death metal is really good. Just metal as a whole is really good. That's why I'm doing this. And there's, I mean, 40 odd episodes. So much fucking metal coming out of this country. It's nuts.
Aye. There's so much good stuff going on right now. I think as well, I'm super excited for riffs and ramps because it's a big all day thing, and like most of the bands are like young folk doing thrash, and it's like that's cool as fuck and hardcore. And there's a lot of fucking
There's death metal and even doom.
yeah, there's a lot of kind of
Like Tar or
everything going
Doom.
on.
Tar are really good. I like Tar.
Tar,
Yeah,
Tar.
I
they're
like.
good.
They're
Yeah,
good.
I had them Legends at some point last year on one of the house gigs. Like good band, also really lovely,
Yeah,
just really lovely peeps.
definitely gotta try and make moves to get them on here. I think it'd be a right laugh. But in
Aye.
any case, before we start wrapping everything up, gentlemen, I would firstly like to thank you guys so much for taking the time to sit down with me. I know you've been very busy. Again, get that new album, It's Blood That Trickles Down. Get it in all the DSPs from that weird guy across the street that's probably in a register. Get it at their big cartel. Get the vinyl. Get t-shirts. Who doesn't love t-shirts? Who doesn't love metal merch? Who doesn't love it?
Idiots. Posers.
Posers, exactly. Is there anything else you guys would like to plug before we wrap up? Anything at all?
Uh, just thanks for checking us out, man. And if you're in the Edinburgh area, you can see us on Friday, the 14th of March at Banshees doing a headliner, um, which is our first headline gig as a three-piece since Oliver departed. It sounds fucking really good. If you're not going to come to that one, come to the Onslaught gig, which is on fucking
April
something.
the something
Um,
teenth.
it's one of the 10th days in April.
We're really put together.
Is it though?
Well, yeah.
Aye.
No, because the 19th is Aberdeen.
Oh, maybe it's not then. April
I think if it's
20.
the Edinburgh one, I think that's the 25th. Because I know that they're playing in Glasgow the
That's it.
26th, and I'm gutted I can't
Aye.
make it because I'm at a wedding.
That's
Aye.
it. So the 25th of April.
25th of
Support.
April, catch them with Onslaught. Luxera will be there as well, and they are just top chaps.
Love Luxera.
We
If
do
you're
love
up
Luxera.
in
That new
North,
demo is really good. Skeleton
It
Ball is
is.
a banger tune. And hopefully we'll hear more from them. Genuinely, I just want to hear more music. I'm just want to hear more music coming out. You know what I mean? Because we've got like that Jaundice album coming out, literally, I think
Aye.
in 2 days. Rancid Cadaver's dropping an album in a month. Brain Bass finally recording their new album, finally, because I've been hearing the same new songs live for 2 years. But
Yeah.
it's still
Yeah,
brilliant
there's
though.
lots
It's
of
going
good
to be
stuff.
amazing. Just
Black
loads
Talon
of
just released
stuff.
their album.
The new Black Talon album is, I know it's only February, but it's also so album of the year for me, and I don't think it's going to shift. Like
Hammer have got an album coming out
Hammer,
very
Hammer
soon.
are doing stuff currently. I think it's
Hammer
coming out
are
this
doing
year.
stuff. Yeah, I had
Aye.
Jim on the podcast a while ago. He let me
Aye.
have a little sneaky
Love
peeky at
Jim.
some. He may or may not have given me a little sneaky peeky at some new tunes and
Oh, right.
Tempered as well. Tempered, I think,
Tempered.
are
Yep,
the final phases of their new album. It's a really exciting time to
That album's
like
going to be
metal.
worryingly good. That
Aye.
Tempered
it
album.
has to be. I mean, come on. They open with Cold Hard Ground, and that riff gets me fucking dancing.
You just know. You just know.
Yeah,
They're putting it enough to ensure that it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be unreal.
it's gonna be like this country's version of Ride the Lightning. I can already tell.
Plus Sam,
But shout out Sam Hart. Love that guy.
incredible
Just shout
talent.
out everybody in this amazing scene. Catch these
There's so
guys
much
at
good stuff.
yeah. Just catch everybody at all the dates. If they're
And that's
go
it.
out and see
Go to
them.
every gig.
Every single
If you
one
don't, you're
ever.
a poser. It's as
Exactly.
simple as that.
Exactly. Either that or you're somebody that's put together and has a job and stuff, but
How many
mainly
metal gigs?
poser. Mainly a
That's
poser.
still poser behavior being put together and having a job. Like, what
Yeah.
are you, 30? Not me.
How many metal gigs do
I'm
you reckon
nearing
you
there.
could go if you went to every gig in
What, every
every
local
if you
gig?
went to every metal gig in Scotland? How many?
Oh, you could be going to gigs all the time.
You could
Like every
literally be
weekend.
going to a gig every day of the year, or at least like
You
half the
could
year.
just
Like
go
in
to a
terms
metal
of a
gig.
total life time span, I think you could fit with all the amazing local gigs that have been happening at least a good 3 to 4 months worth if it was
Aye.
like every day.
Oh, you could probably go to a metal gig every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Scotland. Do
Mhm.
you think?
I reckon so.
Somewhere.
I would say that. They just keep popping up and they keep being good. That's the thing. They just keep
Because
being
that's
good.
like, as well, like my day job, I'm at Legends doing the bookings and stage management stuff. But it's like we've been getting a lot of like Thursday and Sunday bookings, and you sort of think, is that a good day for a gig? And it's like, actually, yeah, the number of like midweek dates that we've had in a wee club in Edinburgh that have been like near sellout shows, if not sellout shows, it's like people are well into gigs right now, and that's cool.
It has been very cool. Even looking at like pre-COVID and post-COVID, even if I
Aye,
go to a gig at like Audio or something, it's packed. Regardless of the venue, it is wall to wall packed, no matter who's
aye,
playing.
I would say the attendance in general is definitely up
yeah,
in recent times.
And then you've got
yeah,
all these people seeing these gigs, forming bands themselves, and then those bands being really good. Case in point, Can You See, prime example. And then
aye,
everybody at Jaundice again, like their first ever show sold out Ivory Blacks. I'd have been cacking my pants at that age.
aye.
I'm
Well,
sure they probably were.
yeah,
And they did it again this year because of
Yeah.
Storm
aye,
AO and they were shifted in last minute, like literally the
aye.
day before. It was well
How good,
good.
aye. Uh, hell yeah.
Just hell
Thrash
yeah.
metal is alive. Metal in general is alive.
Metal in general is alive and there's so many amazing bands coming out of Scotland. And the fact that, not counting like maybe 4 episodes, like 30 odd of them have agreed to sit down and chat shit with me is fucking insane to me.
40 episodes is cool, man. That's impressive
40
as fuck.
episodes. There's 40 episodes counting this one. Two of them are solo episodes where I just chat shit to the camera. One was with Dave Ingram of Benediction, and then one was with this like American guy that wanted to promo his band and I thought sounded cool. But in terms of full-on Scottish bands and artists, 36 all episodes.
That's
I feel
minted.
like we're the 40th episode.
40 guns.
40 is like
Yeah,
our number.
That's our number right
exactly.
now. Why the fuck
That's
did
the
he want
episode
40
title, the 40th gun. Sorted.
episodes?
Done it. There, see, that saved me a ton of work because I'm trying to like think of funny episodes.
40 is just on trend for us right now. Everything's 40.
Everything is 40. But in any case, Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you like what you hear, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm reading the comments. You can tell me how shite I am, and I will definitely pay attention to it. Make sure you pick up these guys' new album. It's Blood That Trickles Down on the big CD, aka vinyl, the superior physical format. If you're going physical, get it in all the DSPs. Just get it in your ear hole. See, look at that cover. It's an actual playable game. No other metal band has done that. It's an actual playable game.
Me and Jack designed this cover as well, so we're the artists that made it.
Aye. We made the game. We test played this game so that you can play it and be really frustrated at how painfully hard it is to win. We've never won it
Do
yet.
you not hate your life enough yet?
Want to hate your life?
Play the
some more?
worst game of all time.
Play the
And
worst
try
game
to
of all
win.
time while listening to one of the best Scottish thrash metal albums of all time.
Thank you so much for
everybody
having us on as well, man.
No, I
Yeah,
really
appreciate
appreciate it. It's cool because you always want to chat to people at gigs and stuff, but one, it's loud, two, there's hundreds of people. You never get a chance to just sit and gab. And it's well fun. But thank you everybody so much for watching and take care. I will see you all on the next one. Peace and love, everyone.